Welcome to the Bellingham-Whatcom County League of Women Voters interviews of candidates in the August primary for the Whatcom County Council. The League is a nonpartisan organization. We never support or oppose a party or a candidate. My name is Michelle Kopsha, and my guest is Jessica Rienstra, who is running for the council from District 3. We are asking all the candidates for this office the same 3 questions. Each candidate has 2 minutes to answer, and the responses will be timed. This video of candidate Rienstra's responses will be on the League website until after the election on August 5th, 2025. Candidate Rienstra, thank you very much for agreeing to this interview and for seeking to serve in public office. So your first question is, and again, you have 2 minutes for your response. What do you consider one of the top problems facing the Whatcom County Council, and what ideas do you have for solving it?
Great, thank you. Thank you for that question, and thank you for having me, Michelle. I think that something that I see and that I've heard from community members that I've engaged with is the level of cohesion and collaboration that could be increased at the county level. I think that there are a lot of areas where there is some lack of agreement, and sometimes energy gets spent looking at those opposing views. But I know that everybody on council is there because they care about the county, the well-being of the county. And so I think finding ways to really find unified goals, collaborate more on common ideas, learning from one another, staying curious, really working in good faith with one another is where we'll get the most strength and really get the most energy and produce enough work for the county and for the people when we focus energy in that manner. So I'd love to see that increased. I think, yeah, alignment on strategies is how we can best serve the county. So that would be the overarching goal.
And your second question, what programs or services should the county be adding for its residents, and which programs, if any, should be eliminated?
Another good question. Thank you. I think this question really would require a lot of data to make sure that it's the correct programs that are being cut or added. And thinking a little bit about my work on the Charter Review Commission and some of the ideas that are being talked about there. There's the discussion around an ombudsperson or a performance auditor. And I think in addition of one or both of those offices would really help when we are looking at the effectiveness of major county programs, especially in housing, our response to homelessness, public health and permitting, really making sure that there's regular public reports with data-driven recommendations, not at all to assign blame, but really to strengthen the service delivery, ensure that there's resources that are reaching those that are most in need and that folks aren't being left out, and to reduce any bureaucratic waste that might be found. And I think when looking at, cutting down and leaning budget, sometimes it's idiosyncratic maybe to think about adding something, but what we've seen over and over again in different areas is that the addition of these offices have long-term savings and even cost benefit for the counties that utilize them. So I think that might answer both the add and subtract would be an office of that manner.
And your final question, what do you think? Why do you think people are so polarized in their political positions these days? And how would you contribute to a more cooperative working relationship with your fellow council members?
Great question. I think that kind of goes back to an earlier answer. There's certainly is a lot of fear at play, and I think it's present for people across the spectrum in politics. And that, to me, really signals the need for more relationship and community building. Again, finding those commonalities. We're an incredibly diverse county, and that really is one of the strengths of ours. We don't all need to think the same, we don't all need to act the same, but leaning into those areas where we do have those common goals, I think everybody that I've talked to wants a healthy and thriving Whatcom County. And so, again, staying really curious, asking questions, how can we find areas that overlap where we can really place our energy to make sure that we are getting to that unified goal together and working on that together and putting energy in community versus dividing community. I know some of those areas include, justice and public safety, healthcare services and mental health access, looking at ways to increase economic development and tourism. There's a lot of kind of in the center of that Venn diagram where we can really come together and work together. I think my background working in mental health and as a healthcare provider has given me a lot of tools that would really make me a key piece to working on collaboration in that manner and bring a lot of skills that aren't necessarily currently represented and could be a good benefit to the county council. And one of the tenets of the work that I do is that we're treating people with unconditional positive regard. So coming to the table and really respecting and honoring those that think like us, that think different than us, making sure that we are acting within that respect while we work together to find what those goals are and how we can best work towards them, again, cohesively in collaboration with one another and for the people.
Okay, well, again, thank you for giving the public this insight into your views and values. Viewers, please remember to vote on August 5th. Ballots sent by mail must be postmarked by that day, and I encourage people that are going to use the US mail to get that ballot in the mailbox several days ahead of time. Ballots sent, if you're going to be using a drop box, make sure that you have the ballot in that drop box by 8 p.m. that day. For more information, please see votewa.gov. That is votewa.gov. Thanks very much, and don't forget to vote.